Okay, the next part is on the extraction of iron. Extraction of iron is an industrial process, so everything is fixed. So you need to memorize, you need to remember, okay, what is mainly what is tested will be these few things. So first you have to know is what are the raw materials, okay, for the extraction of iron. There are three main raw materials. Okay, first one is called hematite. Hematite is actually also your iron ore, but iron ore got a few kinds. The main one is hematite. Hematite will be contained mainly of iron 3 oxide. Okay, but don't write iron 3 oxide if they ask for raw materials, must write hematite. Okay, because hematite is not pure iron 3 oxide, you have other impurities inside. So if you just write iron 3 oxide as the raw material, it will be considered as wrong. Second one is coke. Coke is mainly carbon. Okay, carbon is black, that's why it's called coke. The Coca-Cola is called coke is because it's black also. Okay. Third one is called limestone. Limestone is mainly calcium carbonate, but same thing, there are impurities. So you cannot just write calcium carbonate when they ask for raw materials. Okay, so these three. Then hematite, of course, is iron ore, so it's mainly to provide iron, right? To extract iron from it. That's why it's called extraction iron. So the role of the coke and the limestone, you also have to know. Okay, the next thing you have to know is the 5 equation. The 5 equation will also tell you the role of the coke and the limestone. Okay, the first equation is the carbon, which is the coke. Okay, will burn in oxygen. The oxygen is provided from the air. So air is provided, but air is not considered as one of the raw material usually. It's because it's free. Okay, you don't need to buy air. Okay, so if they ask for 3 raw materials, don't write air. So carbon burn in oxygen in the air to form carbon dioxide. So this one is combustion equation. Combustion is provide heat, produce heat. The heat is needed for subsequent reaction. So this equation is also important. It's one of the role of the coke. Okay, burn to produce heat. Okay, as a fuel, we call it. Okay, then the second one is the carbon dioxide will have excess coke because we throw in a lot of coke. It's not very little, so a lot, so it's excess. So it will produce carbon monoxide. Remember incomplete combustion? The carbon monoxide is actually very important. It acts as a reducing agent. It reduced iron 3 oxide to iron in the third equation. Then itself become carbon dioxide. Okay. Previously, of course, we learned iron 3 oxide can also react with carbon to form iron carbon dioxide. But here, why is it react with carbon monoxide, not carbon? The rationale is like this one, because the carbon is solid, carbon monoxide is gas. Okay. The gas will fill out the whole blast furnace, the chamber. So the iron 3 oxide, more of it will actually be reduced or react with carbon monoxide to form iron rather than carbon. Because carbon is solid, you have to touch the iron 3 oxide, then it can react, which will of course be lesser or smaller in percentage compared to those iron 3 oxide that is reduced by carbon monoxide, which is a gas. Okay, right? So this one is a redox reaction, so you get iron by this equation. Okay, so then from here, what is the role of the limestone? Right, so the second role of carbon is actually to produce carbon monoxide, which reduces iron 3 oxide to iron, which is important. Then what is the role of calcium carbonate or limestone? Okay, the limestone is mainly to remove acidic impurity. What is the acidic impurity? It's mainly your silicon dioxide. There are a few, but mainly it's silicon dioxide. Silicon dioxide is present in sand, clay, all those things. Because your hematite, remember, is buried under the earth. Okay, so when you dig it out, you have all those clay, all this sand, all this, right, which will actually be on the surface of the hematite. So if these are not removed, if it's mixed with the iron that's obtained, the iron obtained will be very brittle. So when it comes, it will shatter into pieces. So you need to remove this silicon dioxide first. How to remove? Then silicon dioxide is actually acidic oxide. Okay, so for acidic oxide, you have to use something basic to remove. So how do we remove it? Very simple. The limestone, which is calcium carbonate, will decompose under the heat to form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, calcium oxide is what? Basic oxide. Right, so the calcium oxide can react with silicon dioxide, which is acidic, neutralization. Then you get a salt, add together. All right, CaO plus SiO2, you get CaSiO3, CaCO3, we call it CaCO3. Okay, you get calcium silicate. This is called calcium silicate. Okay, the common name is called slag. Okay, no use one. So usually, if they ask for the use of slag, you can say used to build road. Okay, anything you don't use to make road. Okay, simple, right? Okay, so these are the 5 equations you must know. Sometimes they will ask you to describe. So if they ask you to describe, you just write the equations and then write some words. Okay, the wordings, the notes, all you can find there. Okay, even if you don't memorize from the equation, you can write your own wording as well. Okay, right. After the 5 equations, the next thing is the blast furnace itself. Sometimes they can ask you for some labeling, so you must know how to label. Okay, some of the things, of course, raw materials just throw in the from the top into the blast furnace. Okay, but there are a few things you have to take note. First thing is, where is the slag and iron obtained? The slag and iron are actually obtained at the bottom, but slag actually float on iron. The molten slag will float on molten iron. So when you label, you have to take note. The slag is the on top layer, the iron is bottom layer. Okay, so at the end of the reaction, they just take off the slag from the iron. Okay, it can just drain off, tape off. Okay, so this must know how to label. Then above that, there's usually 2 small openings. Okay, that 2 small opening is actually for hot air to enter. Because hot air rises, right? So you pump in the air, it becomes hot, it will rise. Then it can react with the thing in the middle, right? The materials, the raw materials. Right? You pump in the air from the top, then the hot air cannot go to the bottom. Okay, so you need to pump the hot air at the bottom. Okay, so this one. And another thing you need to know is waste gas. Waste gas will escape from the top. Okay, but the main waste gases you have to know mainly is nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide, these 3. Okay, your nitrogen itself, of course, where nitrogen comes from? Nitrogen is actually from the air. Air contains 78% nitrogen, but majority is only oxygen react. Okay, so the 78% nitrogen seldom react, so the high percentage of nitrogen will still be released, okay, at the top as waste gas. Of course, it's not pollutant, okay, it's just a waste gas, not used. Carbon dioxide, you can see from all these equations, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. So you have a lot of carbon dioxide that's released. Carbon dioxide is not exactly air pollutant, but it's a greenhouse gas, okay. Third one is carbon monoxide, okay. Carbon monoxide is produced here, although it's so-called reacted here, but in the blast furnace, there's a lot of carbon monoxide which is produced. Not all can react one. So majority, a lot of it will actually escape from the top as well. Okay, so this carbon monoxide will also make up high percentage of the waste gas. And carbon monoxide is poisonous. That's why the blast furnace, the extraction iron, is not a so-called environmentally friendly process. Okay, so these are the few things you need to take note of. Okay, for the extraction iron.